Most people believe that influence comes from power, money, or authority, but the truth is, the most powerful influence is invisible. Every single day, someone around you is quietly influencing how you think, how you feel, and even the decisions you make, without you realizing it. And the scary part, these psychological tricks are so subtle that they can control conversations, shape opinions, and guide people's behavior silently. Politicians use them, negotiators use them, even highly persuasive people use them in everyday life. But once you understand these hidden psychological patterns, you'll start noticing them everywhere. In this video, you'll discover 5 powerful dark psychology tricks that influence people silently, and by the end, you won't just understand how they work. You'll start seeing the hidden psychology behind almost every interaction. Have you ever experienced something strange in a conversation? Maybe someone suggested an idea, and somehow you ended up agreeing with it, even though you weren't sure why. Or maybe you met someone who seemed incredibly persuasive, not aggressive, not loud, but somehow, people always listened to them. They didn't argue, they didn't force anyone. Yet people naturally followed their lead. At first, it feels like charisma, but in many cases, something deeper is happening. Human beings are not as rational as we believe. Most of our decisions are controlled by subconscious psychological triggers. When someone understands these triggers, they can subtly guide people's thoughts, emotions, and decisions. And the person being influenced often believes it was their own idea all along. This is where psychology becomes powerful and sometimes dangerous. Because the greatest influence is not loud, it's silent. And the first trick begins with something surprisingly simple. 1. The power of strategic silence. The first dark psychology trick is surprisingly simple. Silence. Most people are uncomfortable with silence during conversations. When a moment of quiet appears, they feel pressure to fill it. Psychologically, silence creates tension in the human brain, and the brain naturally tries to remove that tension. Skilled influencers use this reaction intentionally. Imagine you are negotiating something with someone. You ask them a direct question, and then you stay completely silent. No extra explanation, no talking, just silence. In many cases, the other person will begin speaking more than they planned. They might explain their position more deeply, reveal extra information, or even change their original stance just to break the silence. This happens because silence creates a psychological discomfort called social pressure. People feel an urge to resolve it. Lawyers, negotiators, and interrogators often use this technique. They ask a question and simply wait. The longer the silence continues, the more the other person feels compelled to talk. And sometimes the most powerful influence comes not from what you say, but from what you don't say. Here is something most people don't realize. The next psychological trick works because of a deep human need, the need to be understood. 2. The mirror effect. Human beings have a natural tendency to trust people who seem similar to them. This psychological phenomenon is called mirroring. When someone subtly copies your body language, tone, or speaking style, your brain begins to see them as familiar. And familiarity creates trust. For example, if someone speaks calmly and slowly, a skilled communicator will also slow their speech slightly. If someone leans forward while talking, the other person may mirror the same movement. These actions are extremely subtle, but the brain notices them unconsciously. This activates something called the mirror neuron system, which helps humans build social connection. When people feel that someone is similar to them, they lower their psychological defenses. They feel comfortable, and when comfort appears, influence becomes easier. Sales experts and negotiators often use mirroring to build instant. 3. The foot in the door technique. One of the most powerful psychological tricks is starting small, very small. This strategy is known as the foot in the door technique. The idea is simple. If someone agrees to a small request first, they are much more likely to agree to a bigger request later. Why? Because humans want to appear consistent. Once we say yes to something, our brain begins building an identity around that decision. For example, imagine someone asks you to sign a small petition supporting environmental protection. It seems harmless, so you agree. Later, the same person asks if you would be willing to donate money to the same cause. Research shows that people who sign the petition first are far more likely to donate. Why? Because their brain now sees them as someone who supports that cause. Saying no would create internal conflict, so they continue saying yes. Many marketing campaigns use this technique. First a small free trial, then a small purchase, then a bigger one. Each step builds psychological momentum, and before someone realizes it, their decisions have already been guided step by step. This is where things get interesting, because sometimes the most powerful influence comes from planting an idea. 4. The idea planting trick. People love believing their ideas are original, but sometimes the idea was planted long before they realized it. This psychological trick works by introducing a concept subtly during conversation, not forcing it, just mentioning it casually. For example, instead of telling someone directly what to do, you might say something like, "Some people have started investing early so they can retire younger." You're not telling the person to invest, you're simply introducing the concept. Later, when that person thinks about financial decisions, the idea might return to their mind. And when they finally decide to invest, they believe it was their own thought. This technique works because the brain constantly searches for ideas and solutions. When an idea already exists in memory, the brain often adopts it as its own. Great leaders and marketers use this method often. They don't command people, they guide their thinking, and when someone believes the decision was their own, the influence becomes almost invisible. But here's something even more powerful. Sometimes influence works through scarcity. 5. The scarcity pressure. Human psychology reacts strongly to the idea of losing opportunities. This is called scarcity bias. When something appears rare or limited, its perceived value immediately increases. You've probably seen this everywhere. Only 3 seats left. Limited time offer. Last chance. These phrases trigger a powerful psychological reaction called fear of missing out. Instead of carefully analyzing the decision, the brain switches to urgency mode. People suddenly feel pressure to act quickly. And when urgency appears, logical thinking often decreases. Retail stores, online platforms, and marketers frequently use scarcity to increase sales. But the principle works in everyday interactions too. If something feels easily available, people may ignore it. But when it appears limited, interest suddenly increases. Because the human brain is wired to avoid losing opportunities. And sometimes, the fear of losing something is stronger than the desire to gain it. Here is the deeper truth about human nature. Most people believe they are fully in control of their decisions, but psychological research shows something different. Much of our thinking is influenced by subconscious triggers. silence, familiarity, commitment, ideas, scarcity. These small psychological forces quietly guide human behavior, not through force, but through understanding how the human mind works. The most persuasive people in the world don't try to dominate conversations. They simply understand psychology better than others. And once you begin noticing these patterns, you realize influence is happening everywhere. Think about your own life for a moment. How many decisions did you make that felt completely your own, but were actually shaped by someone else's words, environment, or suggestion? Maybe a purchase, maybe a career decision, maybe even a relationship. Human behavior is deeply connected to the people around us. We influence each other constantly, sometimes intentionally, sometimes without realizing it. And this awareness can change the way you see every conversation, because once you understand psychology, you begin to see the invisible forces behind human behavior. Dark psychology itself is not good or bad. It's simply knowledge about human behavior. Like any tool, it can be used in different ways. Some people use psychological influence to manipulate, but others use it to communicate better, build stronger relationships, and understand people more deeply. The real power is not controlling others. The real power is understanding the human mind. Because once you understand how influence works, you become far more aware of when it's happening to you. And awareness is the first step to true freedom. So the next time you have a conversation with someone, pay attention. Notice the pauses, the similarities, the subtle ideas, because sometimes the strongest influence in the room is the one nobody notices.